A few years ago I was asleep, but wasn't. I saw myself lying there, and a girl was standing next to my bed in my sleeping body. I saw myself, but I knew I was not in that body. She did not. She tried to communicate with me via telepathy or something by staring at me. First, I thought she wanted to do harm. Then I felt like she was scared and wanted to tell me something but did not know how. The next morning I woke up and was irritated. This dream was so different from the usual ones. I also remembered that she looked like she had been through stuff. While I was still trying to piece it together, I went to work and opened the browser on my computer to look at the news, which I usually don't do. The first headline I see is a plane crash with schoolchildren on board, matching the age of the girl that stood at my bed. To this day I am convinced when I look at the pictures of two of the girls were on the plane that one of them was the one standing at my bed. There is one picture that shows them before departure, and it seems she was wearing the exact clothes I saw her with, still getting shivers when thinking of it.
A few years back, we were doing check-in of our luggage for our return international flight back home from India. We finished security check as well, and we were in the waiting lounge. Our child was around 1 year old. All of a sudden, she started crying. The intensity of her crying has increased manifold, and we, for some reason, could not stop her. We tried all the usual tricks of trying to make her sleep. Give her some milk. All of them failed. My wife started panicking. She told me that she is scared to take the flight. She cannot manage the situation. We decided to head back home and rebook the tickets. This could mean we lose thousands of rupees, but it appears like we do not have much choice. We spoke with the customs and airport security about our situation. They did some paperwork, released our checked-in luggage, and let us leave. The moment we left the airport and we came to the car park area, our child stopped crying. This totally surprised us. We called my parents to tell them about what happened. We were shocked to know my grandfather passed away.
While going for tuition back when I was in +2, I usually cross a railway track picking up my cycle. On this rainy day, I was wearing a raincoat, so my peripheral vision was blocked. I had to cross 2 tracks to get to the other side. A train was passing through the track at the opposite end. Me, being a dumbfuck, decided it's best I wait in the first track while the train is passing on the other track. The thing is, there was a train already stationary on the far end on the track I was waiting on. Since my peripheral vision was blocked by the raincoat and the raindrops falling on the raincoat cancelled any surrounding noise, I was not aware of anything happening around me. Suddenly, I could hear a voice coming from inside my head, which was practically yelling to look to the left. I looked, and the train, which was stationary, was reversing towards me. There was only a few meters between us. I immediately picked my cycle and moved from the track, while being in shock, trying to cope up with what had transpired. I looked around to see if someone actually called me, only I was there. I could have been dead. To this day, I believe it's a divine intervention.
My family moved to this standard upscale suburban home after roughing it for a couple of years to save up. We also got a deal on the home because it was a model home before it was ours, like had all the fake furniture to show off the neighborhood homes. Anyways, it had this loft area with 2 stairwells that go up to it, one in the front and one in the back. You could pretty much hear everything from this loft since it was so open. One day my 2 best friends, guy and a girl, are hanging out in the loft. We were in HS and they were horny and always all over each other, whether I was in the room or not. We were watching TV and I get up to take a piss. When I left, they were all up on each other. When I came back, they were on different ends of the couch. They had gotten into a fight, so I asked what was up. "Your little sister is home," the dude says. My face turned sheet white. "What's wrong?" the girl asked. I asked them what made them think that. They said they heard her. I am sort of freaking out at this point. "No one's here," I say. We checked the house and I'm right. Well, it turns out that before it was a model home, a family lived there, and a little girl had been playing in the loft but had climbed on the railing and fell to her death below. My 2 best friends swear to this day that they heard what they thought was my sister laugh and run up the stairs, hitting her hands on each step like she was running up on all 4s. I never had any encounters, other than the fact that right next to where she landed was the house's central intercom. We had an intercom system in every room that you could play music through, or talk to each other. Every so often at night at the same time you'd wake up to the intercom button being pressed, and just the blank sound of static airways like someone was holding down the button, but no one was speaking. My room was on the 3rd floor, and I'd have to walk down to the bottom to the main unit and turn it off there. I always thought I'd see her.
When I was about 12, our family moved into a new house. New to us, actually quite old. It was in our same village, but down a different lane. Part of it used to be a bungalow, so my room and my sister's room were on the ground floor, down a long hallway. All of the ground floor had walnut flooring, and there was a Persian rug outside the door to my room to avoid cold toesies in the morning. Every night around 11 or so, I would hear footsteps walking at a fairly slow pace right down the hall, from the end guest suite up past our rooms and away down the hall to the living room. I was always in bed when I heard them, and so was everyone else. You know how you can tell who a family member is by the way they walk up the stairs or open a specific door? I knew it wasn't anyone in my family. Plus, it was the sound of outdoor shoes clacking on the wood, and everyone in my family wore slippers inside the house. I would hear the footsteps start, fairly loud on the wooden floor way down the hall, come up past my sister's room, and then there would be a pause, while whatever it was walked over the rug. You could hear the gap in the footsteps, about 3 seconds, then they would start again on the other side of the rug and fade out as they walked down the hall away to the living room. Then they would come back. Same footsteps, break across the rug, resumed on the other side. I don't remember ever feeling scared, but I never ever went out to see what it was. I would fall asleep to the sound. It would go on for a really long time. It stopped about 3 or 4 weeks after we moved in, and I never heard it again. I didn't really think about it much after it stopped, but I've never forgotten it, and as an adult it makes me shiver to remember it.
I was a new nurse, and I was assigned a patient that was difficult, but I really liked her. She had recently been diagnosed with cancer, so if she had bad days, it was to be expected. We talked a lot about my life, her fears, our silly stuff, and on and on. She went home, but returned several times over the year for treatment and so on. During that year, I met a guy, and we got rather serious. The next time I saw her, I explained that I was getting married and I wanted her to attend the wedding. But she got sick and needed to be in the hospital, so my entire wedding party joined me in her hospital room to wish her well. She was so surprised and happy. We went on our honeymoon, and when I returned, I found out she had died. During the year we were getting to know one another. I lived in a small apartment that was cramped for one person, let alone a couple, but we were poor and tried to work it out. After a half a year of not having enough room, I decided to check for new apartments for rent. There was a place near enough to work that I could walk, and it was so much bigger, plus it had a garage. It was actually cheaper than our little place. The one drawback is that we didn't have enough furniture, but family and friends chipped in, and we moved in a few weeks later. We loved having enough room to actually have guests. We had parents over for meals, and friends often congregated at our place. We had one friend that kept telling us the place was haunted, but it didn't seem like a mean ghost. We did hear funny knocks, but didn't pay it much mind. One day, I got mail for the former tenant, and I'm sure y'all know the punchline. Yes, it was my former patient's apartment. The weird thing is, it had to have been empty for about 6 months. I can't understand why it had been vacant for such a long time. It still puzzles me, or maybe it was just meant to be, or maybe she was keeping an eye on me. Who knows?